Before this video starts, if you enjoy this video, there are many more like it already on the channel with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. I upload 6 days a week on this channel, so if you're looking for some consistent basketball talk, this is the place for it. Also, drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second. It makes a massive difference. I am really at the finish line to hitting 100K, so if you guys could subscribe, that would really be appreciated. But today we are talking about the Golden State Warriors and what they should do with their number 2 overall draft pick. Now, when I did this video for the Timberwolves and their number 1 overall pick, I had a few people mention the idea of trading the pick. I want to make it clear that for this little sub-series in the 2K talks to whatever pick I decide to go to, I'm going to be talking about just purely who they select. No hypothetical trades, just assuming that the Warriors stick at the number 2 spot, who they should draft. And this becomes an interesting situation because I do want to take into consideration the Warriors potentially trading the pick that they make, because this is obviously a team that is looking to contend, and they're certainly in the most interesting spot in this draft lottery because they are in a position where next season they can be a championship contender as long as they build around what they had previous to Kevin Durant once more. Though I believe Draymond Green has fallen off, and no, it has nothing to do with Curry and Clay being out. I just genuinely think he's fallen off. I also think that this is pretty much the core of that 2016 Warriors team, and they could still be like a 60-win level team and a contender as long as it's built around properly. And the first step in making that build is drafting a guy, and either drafting that guy who's going to fit your team or drafting the highest or the best available prospect that would get you the highest amount of value in a trade for a star level player or just some surrounding pieces. So it's an interesting conversation because one of Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, or James Wiseman are likely going to be the pick unless the Warriors obviously trade back. But again, we're talking about who they're drafting here. So what seems to be the general consensus as in terms of what's the best fit for the Golden State Warriors would be to draft James Wiseman to play center. But I kind of disagree, and the reason for that is I really feel like small ball is the direction the league is heading, and the Warriors themselves were already dipping their toe in small ball, to say the least. And I feel like that's the direction they're going to go, especially with Eric Pascal seeming like a guy who can play small ball center quite a bit, with them having Draymond Green on top of that. So I really feel that this Warriors team could consistently go pretty damn small and do it well, and James Wiseman, because of that, would be kind of lacking in minutes in Golden State. Now, there is a defensive upside to this because James Wiseman is expected to be a pretty good defensive player, and in the system that Golden State has defensively, and with their focus on defense and him not having to take nearly as many shots as he would on a team like the Charlotte Hornets or maybe the Minnesota Timberwolves, but definitely the Hornets, Wiseman would definitely be more focused defensively if he was on the Golden State Warriors, and essentially he would serve as like a Clint Capella type of guy, which I've seen people compare him to, with a little bit of a jump shot, be a run, jump, and dunk guy on offense, rebound the ball, and play good defense. And yeah, I'd agree that that guy is generally a good fit, but at least for me, if I'm in the position of Golden State, I really like the idea of going small a lot. And James Wiseman kind of goes against that. And then if we're talking about who has the most trade value, it's definitely going to be Edwards or LaMelo, assuming that they're going to trade one of these guys eventually. Now, there's also the potential that you draft LaMelo and he actually just sucks and his trade value is not that high and it'd actually be lower than that of Edwards or James Wiseman. However, I don't think he's going to suck, and I also think there's some reason to believe that LaMelo could be better in Golden State than Wiseman in terms of what Golden State actually wants to do. I've seen people say that LaMelo is a poor fit for the Warriors, but I kind of disagree. The only reason he would be a poor fit is if his three-point shot was not good from the get-go, and that is certainly possible. We saw that happen with his brother, and LaMelo has some similar shooting issues in his form. I don't know what the fuck LeVar was teaching them, but their shooting forms are definitely questionable. So there's definitely potential that LaMelo is struggling to score and shoot the ball from the start, and that could make it a little difficult of a fit. LaMelo is maybe borderline or maybe even a generational passing talent. And I think the Warriors would be really great with a passer like that, with Steph having the playmaking that he already does. Like, LaMelo is a guy who's probably going to, presuming he gets the opportunity, going to average like 7+ assists per game, and they're not going to be bullshit assists. They're going to be completely legitimate assists. I think if you draft LaMelo, the Warriors are going to be at the top of the league in assists per game. And another reason why I think you get LaMelo or Anthony Edwards over James Wiseman is because ball handling. LaMelo is definitely a better ball handler, and of course a way better playmaker than Anthony Edwards. And also Anthony Edwards is probably going to be off of the board. Well, actually, I guess at 2 he's not necessarily probably going to, because it seems like the Timberwolves want LaMelo. So I don't know, maybe Edwards is who you get, but I would definitely say that Edwards is. I think either way, one of those two is a good option because it's another ball handler. One thing, and this is stupid, but it's also a thing that's existed with the Warriors, but one thing I really noticed while playing the footage or looking at right now was like, wow, nobody on this team besides for Steph can dribble the ball, and that's a problem. And yeah, 2K is not reality. However, it is a reflection of reality in that the Warriors do not have a ball handler outside of Steph Curry, and I believe one of the reasons why Steph has been so amazing is because he hasn't had to be a lead ball handler, and they kind of had Andre Iguodala to serve as that secondary ball handler, and before that, Sean Livingston. I'm talking about in 2016 when Steph had his season, despite being the only great ball handler on his team. There were other guys, and including Draymond Green as well, that could dribble the ball and allow Steph to be the off-ball player that he is. And Draymond's not as good as he is. He's a bit slower now than he was then. And then obviously Iggy and Sean Livingston are gone now. So Steph is not going to be able to play as much off ball with the Warriors now as he would be able to then, unless you're considering Andrew Wiggins a ball handler, which like he can, but he's not really a ball handler. So yeah, I think LaMelo would be interesting and probably be the best option for the Warriors in terms of both having a good fit and having the highest trade value, because I think LaMelo is going to have more trade value than James Wiseman, and I also think he's going to be able to be more impactful on the Warriors if the Warriors go small in a more common, are very frequently going small, which I believe they will with Eric Pascal and Draymond Green. So I think LaMelo's the pick, because Anthony Edwards, yeah, he in this like ideal world of like a few years ago when the Warriors were constantly needing this rim protecting center, and then Andrew Bogut was getting injured all the time, and then they kind of had to replace him with Kevon Looney. But like, I honestly think I'd rather have LaMelo Ball and Kevon Looney as this true traditional center that you have as an option, and then you can run small all the time. Like, if I'm choosing between those two options, I'd rather have LaMelo on the Warriors. And I don't know that that's the pick they're going to make. If I had to take a guess, I would say James Wiseman, because I don't know if they want to go in the small ball direction. One thing that's interesting is I don't think Eric is that great, and he's also not a good fit with Draymond Green, and that's two non-really consistent three-point shooting big men out there. So I don't know how much overlap in minutes those two are actually going to get. And of course you're going to want to have a traditional center. Like, I think the one problem with the Rockets small ball is they don't even have the option of a traditional center outside of a 40-year-old Tyson Chandler, and that age thing wasn't even that far off. Like I said, 40-year-old to be sarcastic, but he's like 38, so I'm not even that far off. I think having that option is always good, and I think that option can be Kevon Looney, and then use Pascal and Draymond as the centers and run that small ball with LaMelo Ball playing one of the guard spots. I guess you get Clay in at the 3, and Andrew Wiggins kind of get shafted, but I also really don't think Andrew Wiggins is going to be very good for Golden State, so that's not a big deal to me. And I also don't think he can really be that ball handler, although I guess technically he's no worse of a ball handler than Iggy and Livingston, but I don't know. Maybe I'm lying to myself here and I'm just an Andrew Wiggins hater, but I think LaMelo Ball would allow Steph to be the off-ball player he is, and I think the Warriors offense overall could stand to use a playmaker, and if Ball is a good three-point shooter off of the jump as well, then he is the obvious pick. Now, that's obviously not something that we're going to know until it happens, but it is an option. And I guess I should talk about Anthony Edwards real quick because I kind of just glossed over it. Odds are LaMelo Ball is going to be off the board and he's going to be going to the Timberwolves based on everything that I have heard. So really, even though I've spent half this video talking about LaMelo Ball, it's probably going to be between Edwards and Wiseman. And Edwards is different because he's really not much of a playmaker, nor is he a floor spacer. So in terms of picking between those two, even though he is a ball handler, I think that'll come down to which one you think has more trade value between the two, if they're planning on trading one of them. And I think that's very well possible. So Edwards, if you plan on trading him soon or one day in the near future, and Wiseman if you don't. And I guess you just deal with running big. My issue is that's going to be two poor shooting big men out there in that case as well. Yeah. It's not there's definitely no clear answer here. Although in my shoes, I think I would take Anthony Edwards and then trade him, as well as whatever young players you have as well, for a star level player. What star player that is not guaranteed at the moment. I'm thinking Bradley Beal is possible, and you just run Clay at the 3, and you have some more shooting and scoring out there to replace some of the shooting and scoring that Kevin Durant left behind. Yeah, so I would draft Anthony Edwards, although if LaMelo is on the board, that's easily who I'm picking. And then James Wiseman, I'm not as big a fan of that option as I'm sure a lot of Warriors fans are. So that's what I think the Warriors should do with the second overall pick. That is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.